Today on the show, we have the House of Mouse headlines brought to you by laughingplace.com, your up-to-date resource for the latest Disney news every day of the week. This episode is being released on July 10th, 2024, and here's what's been going on in the world of Disney recently. Walt Disney World taking a page from FastPass Plus, Bob Iger's 50 years with Disney? Sort of. Tons of Disney Cruise Line updates, and more.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
In some sad news, Oscar-winning producer Jon Landau recently passed away at the age of 63 following a battle with cancer. Landau is best known for his collaborations with James Cameron, having produced Titanic and Avatar. Given his connection to the later film, Landau also worked with Walt Disney Imagineering during the creation of Pandora, the world of Avatar, at Walt Disney World, and was even spotted at Imagineering earlier this year. Remembering Landau, retired Imagineer Joe Rohde said on his Instagram, "This is a huge loss of a great spirit. Nobody can feel this loss as acutely as his family, but I will miss him both as a friend and colleague. From 2011 until well past the opening of Pandora in 2017, we worked side by side on an almost daily basis on a project of incredible complexity and challenge. We met and talked, conspired, and debated constantly. He was as honest, sincere, trustworthy, and thoughtful of a partner as anyone could wish for. He said what he felt, and he did what he said, and that is rare. John truly understood people and treated them all with generosity and respect. His creative energy, enthusiasm, and optimism were unmatchable and infectious. Because of this, because of how he connected people and held things together from sheer force of personality, he will be especially missed by all. His creative legacy is a matter of public record, but his real legacy is the circle of humans whom he touched with his life. They and I will miss him dearly." June 30th marked the 50-year anniversary of the popular Hoop-Dee-Doo musical review. In celebration of the milestone, the show's original cast reunited at Disney's Fort Wilderness, where they not only got to see each other once again, but also had a chance to meet the current cast. Guests can still catch regular performances of the Hoop-Dee-Doo musical review dinner show at Pioneer Hall in Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. The reimagined Disney Ever After store has opened at Disney Springs, bringing the Walt Disney World debut of the Create Your Own Headband offering. Replacing the former Ever After jewelry company and accessories, this new store features fun collections with your favorite characters, as well as Instagrammable photo spots. The store is also colorfully decorated, making use of a lot of emoji versions of Disney characters, straight out of the Disney Emoji Blitz mobile game. As mentioned, this is also now where Walt Disney World guests can create their own headbands by selecting which character plush palms they want to add. All of this and more can be found at Disney Ever After, located in Town Center at Disney Springs. Although Pixar Fest is set to conclude at the Disneyland Resort on August 4th, at least one offering from the event will continue for a bit longer. Disney has announced that Together Forever, a Pixar nighttime spectacular, will now perform through August 22nd. This will then lead into the return of Halloween Screams on August 23rd. As a reminder, if you saw Together Forever during its original run in 2018, the show has been updated to feature more recent Pixar films such as Onward, Soul, Luca, Turning Red, and Elemental. So be sure to catch Together Forever, a Pixar nighttime spectacular, before August 22nd. The sports bar at Disneyland Paris's Disney Village has been welcoming guests since 1992, but will soon undergo a complete makeover and reopen in 2025. When it returns, the bar, which will be sponsored by the resort's official partner Coca-Cola, will deliver an enhanced experience with greater seating capacity, a redesigned plant-filled terrace, a new interior design, and reimagined food and beverage offerings. It will also take over the space currently occupied by New York-style sandwiches. Of course, this transformation represents just one of the many projects that are being brought to life at Disney Village as part of a multi-year update. With this latest news, the current sports bar and the New York-style sandwiches restaurant will close their doors beginning at the end of this year. Prior to the attraction's permanent closure, Tokyo Disneyland is celebrating Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blasters with a special Complete the Mission event. From now until September 18th, a special version of the attraction is making it easier than ever to achieve a high score, which maxes out at 999,999. Then, from September 19th to October 31st, some exclusive merchandise and popcorn box designs featuring the attraction will be available to purchase. Tokyo's version of Buzz Lightyear's Astro blasters will officially retire at the end of October to make way for a new Wreck-It Ralph attraction to open in 2026. Now is your chance to become a member of the 2025 Plan Disney panel. For those unfamiliar, Plan Disney, formerly known as the Disney Parks Moms Panel, is a panel of guests who, through their experience, work to help others using their knowledge of the resorts. Panelists are chosen to help under one of 4 categories: Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Disney Cruise Line, or Disney Vacation Club. If you're interested in joining the team, this year's search is now open, with submissions set to close at 12 p.m. Eastern Time on July 13th. For more information on how to apply, head to the Plan Disney website. Following a dry dock later this year, the Disney Dream cruise ship will debut some new additions, including an updated Oceaneer Club, a brand new funnel suite, a new concierge lounge, and a revamped spa. First, a state-of-the-art lab will be swinging into the Oceaneer Club thanks to the members of the Worldwide Engineering Brigade, or WEB for short. At the Marvel Web Workshop, young recruits will be able to test new suit prototypes for Spider-Man and other heroes, and conduct training simulations using web technology to fend off enemies from the workshop. Next up, Edge, the tween club for guests aged 11 to 14, will be moving to Deck 5 in order to debut exciting new features, including access to an outdoor deck with a ball pit and recreational games. Edge will also include a club lounge and dance floor for unforgettable parties with new friends. Also new aboard the Dream Tower Suite will completely transform the forward funnel of the ship. In homage to the Disney Dream's stern character, Sorcerer Mickey, the 2-story suite will be themed to the Sorcerer's Apprentice from Fantasia. As you might expect, pricing will be high for the new suite. A 4-day sailing in May 2025 is currently going for more than $32,000. Depending on the sailing date, there's a $14,000 difference compared to the current top-of-the-line suite, the Concierge Royal Suite with veranda. Elsewhere, concierge guests will be able to enjoy an expanded concierge lounge, an all-new space inspired by Hercules. The ethereal lounge will have light, airy details and rich colors inspired by the clouds of Mount Olympus, with hints of bright gold evoking the gates to the kingdom of the gods. All of these enhancements and more will debut aboard the Disney Dream this fall. Disney Cruise Line recently revealed some new details about its upcoming Disney Treasure ship. Among the reveals is news that the Treasure's World of Marvel restaurant will host a brand new Guardians of the Galaxy themed dinner show. This show, titled Marvel Celebration of Heroes Groot Remix, will join Avengers Quantum Encounter, which can currently be experienced aboard the Disney Wish. Since the Treasure will take guests on longer voyages, they'll have a chance to experience both distinct shows at Worlds of Marvel. The Disney Treasure will set sail on its maiden voyage on December 21st, 2024, embarking on its inaugural season of 7-night itineraries to the Eastern Caribbean and Western Caribbean from Port Canaveral, Florida. In addition to the Disney Dreams update and the Disney Treasure ready to set sail from Florida later this year, the Disney Adventure is also moving toward its maiden voyage from its home port in Singapore. Ahead of the ship's 2025 debut, Disney has shared some of the popular properties that will be part of the vessel. Some of the areas revealed included those themed to Toy Story, Big Hero 6, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Moana, and others. For example, there's the family entertainment area San Francisco Street, the shopping and dining area Disney Discovery Reef, the relaxing poolside retreat Wayfinder Bay, and more. Meanwhile, Disney Imagination Garden will be the emotional heart of the Disney Adventure and is an enchanted valley, charming garden, and open-air performance venue all in one. Inspired by 100 years of heroic and heartwarming Disney adventures, this gathering space will be guests' gateway to an unforgettable journey all their own. More details about the Disney Adventure, its maiden voyage, and onboard experiences are expected to be announced soon. Call in the Muses, Disney's Hercules is heading to the West End. With a successful run in Hamburg, Germany still going, Disney's Hercules has announced that it will be opening at Theatre Royal Drury Lane in London next summer. Choreographed and directed by Casey Nicola, the show also features music and lyrics by Alan Menken and David Zippel. A brand new book will be written for the London production by Robert Horn and Kwame Kwei-Armah. This marks the first major English-language show from Disney Theatrical Group since Frozen. To keep tabs on this upcoming production, be sure to visit the LW Theater's website. Pixar has found a much-needed hit in Inside Out 2, which continues to impress at the global box office. In its 19th day, the film managed to surpass $1 billion, marking the fastest that an animated movie has ever reached this milestone. Notably, of the 11 animated features to ever cross $1 billion globally, 8 come from Walt Disney Animation or Pixar. Domestically, following this past weekend, the film's box office receipts total more than $533 million. Of course, with Disney Pixar's Inside Out still performing so well, it could be quite a while before the movie arrives on Disney+, so be sure to catch it in theaters. And now it's time to bring back Kyle Burbank from laughingplace.com. How you doing, Kyle?
Jeffrey, can I tell you that I am so much better now that there are not constant booms around my house as there have been for like a week?
Happy 4th of July, baby.
But it's not just 4th of July. 4th of July was this is our first year in this house. And so, yeah, we learned a lot about our couple neighbors in particular. But like, it was so loud on the 4th, but every other day, and you know what? I don't know which is worse, the big actual bangs, because I'm like, okay, I'm sure that there was something cool with that, or just like those little firecrackers that don't do anything but make an annoying noise. But after a week, I'm just like, first of all, how much money did you spend on all of this? And second of all, how is this still fun for you after a week? Like, that's like a 2-hour activity.
As a pyromaniac, I will tell you, I would not get bored with it. So I applaud them. And speaking of like 2 hours, I kid you not, 1 year for the 4th of July, I went to, where did they have the Olympics when it was there? Is it the Coliseum? Is that what they call it? The LA Coliseum?
Yeah.
They had a fireworks show. And I knew this in advance because I read it. It was advertised this way. But I was like, there's no way this is true. They shot 1 hour worth of fireworks on the 4th of July. And I was like, even as a pyromaniac, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, this is insane. An hour of pyrotechnics?
Wow.
This is a lot. So, but yeah, I'm not going to lie. I probably would have been over at your neighbor's house every single night. But I will add, you have a dog, which,
I do.
You know.
And she, in the apartment, didn't seem to have a reaction, but definitely had a reaction this time. Not super scared and running, but she would growl every now and then at the fireworks. Yeah. And I'm like, I agree. But I will say the best fireworks show I ever saw was in London for the dedication of the Millennium Bridge. And then the next day I walked across the bridge and says, wow, this thing is pretty wobbly. And then they closed it down because it was very wobbly.
Oh, no. Are fireworks legal in your state?
Fireworks are legal in the state somewhere. I don't know about in city limits, but here's the secret. We are 1 street off of city limits.
Ah, there you go.
So even if I wanted to do anything, couldn't.
Well, that's why you've got the crazy street of pyrotechnics. The people who are just, 5 or 10 minute walk into the city limits, they're like, just go to that street.
Not 5-10 minute, like literally our backyard is like.
But I'm saying people who are in a few minutes, they're like, walk to the line, blow the stuff up. Happy 4th of July. I spent my 4th at Disneyland, but I'll tell you a little bit about that later on. But let's get into the news, because this news was announced right after we recorded last week, right before the episode came out. We record on Mondays. It's released on Wednesdays. I think on Tuesday they announced this, right? 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
All right. Disney Genie Plus will be getting a new name, Lightning Lane Multipass. And what is currently known as Individual Lightning Lane will become Lightning Lane Single Pass. Now, there's a bunch of details. We'll get into them, but I just want to start and stop with that because, number one, screw Genie Plus. We all know how I feel about it. But I will say these new names do make it clearer what it is. Do you not agree with that?
Oh, I completely agree with that. Genie Plus was a stupid name that they just tacked on, be like, well, we have this awesome product called Genie, and then if you want to enhance it with some extra, pay a little extra, then you get Genie Plus. So that was like the framing of it, and it always felt cheap to me. Not in the actual price you pay, but it was gimmick that way. And so yeah, this is much more clear, even if people will make sci-fi movie references.
Yeah, well, so Genie, yeah, I feel like people forgot that Genie even existed because of Genie Plus.
And it will continue to exist. We did ask Disney about that because we might be the only people who remember.
Yeah, so Genie exists, the free thing that is really just an upsell machine. It's crap. To be fair, I used it for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and I was just so annoyed with it that I was like, nope, no more of this. So yeah, that will still exist. Genie still exists. So there's Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Single Pass. This is starting on July 24th, and Walt Disney World guests will be able to purchase Lightning Lane Multipass and select up to 3 Lightning Lane attractions in advance of their visit. What a novel idea! It sounds a little familiar, eh?
A little bit. I can't put my finger on it.
Fast Pass Plus, folks.
We'll get there. Let's go through everything, and then we'll talk about how it's different.
Okay. So additionally, Lightning Lane single pass attractions will also be bookable in advance. Guests staying at Disney Resort hotels will be able to make their selections up to 7 days in advance of their stay and book selection for the entire stay up to 14 days.
So you could be 21 days in advance, technically, if it's like your last day.
For your last day, which is great because it would be very annoying if each day you had to keep going back 7 days. So that's great. All other guests will be able to make selections up to 3 days in advance at 7 a.m. Notably, guests can preview available selections before completing their transaction, which I guess was a problem prior. They're trying to simplify things, which is good.
Well, especially if things are going to fill up in advance now. If you're getting there on the day of, you want to know what that availability is for these specific attractions before you even bother.
Exactly. And then, something else that sounds familiar. Tiers will be in use for the service at all parks except for Animal Kingdom, allowing guests to pick one popular attraction from one group and then 2 from a lower tier. On the day of the visit, once guests utilize their first Lightning Lane reservation, they'll be able to book additional return times. Once again, sounds familiar. Day of Lightning Lane Multipass will continue to be available as well. With these changes, Disney says the app will also be updated to make it easier to purchase these services. At the Disneyland Resort, so that was like all Walt Disney World stuff, at the Disneyland Resort, the nomenclature will also be updated to Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Single Pass on July 24th. However, the services will remain the same operationally. So what's old is new once again, Kyle.
Yeah, so there are a few differences. The first and most obvious one is that this is paid. FastPass Plus was free. Mm-hmm. This is something you still have to pay for.
And those prices will be unstable and changing regularly, just as they are now as far as we know.
Right, but they must set them far enough in advance if people are booking potentially 20 days in advance if they have their 7-day window plus a 14-day trip, which is, good luck to you if you're spending 14 days at Walt Disney World. I don't think you care about the extra upgrade at that point.
The Brits do. Like, they get so much vacation that, like, European visitors do spend that much time. But from what I understand, this advanced booking stuff is only good for United States and Canada, I believe. I don't think any other overseas countries have access. So that's really interesting because I know a lot of British visitors come for 2 and 3 weeks at a time. So we'll see what happens there. Sorry, continue, sir.
No, you're good. So then the second big difference is that the booking window is obviously a lot shorter. I think it was, 3 or 6 months with FastPass Plus for hotel resort guests, and now it's at most 7 days if you're a resort guest or 3 if you're not. And then the third one is you used to previously have to use up all 3 of your FastPass Plus before you could unlock additional ones, whereas this, once you use your first one, then you're able to book an additional. So it is very similar. I think they went out of their way to make sure that it wasn't exactly the same, but there are some differences that are worth noting.
Yeah, and honestly, I like the 7 days over the 3 or 6 months. Like, that just seems kind of insane to have to worry about your trip and do that homework. I mean, listen, there's always homework to do, but that seemed a little crazy. And also, if you don't get what you want 6 months in advance, you're kind of bummed for 6 months leading up to your trip, which kind of stinks. So, yeah, I mean, the easy fix is get rid of it, but we all know that ain't going to happen.
Don't buy it. And you can book it. You'll be able to book the multi-pass and the single pass at the same time in one transaction, which will be a little bit cleaner if you do want to plan those things in advance. Like, for sure that you want to ride What I don't even know what they have. Rise of the Resistance, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, I'll go through a sample right now. I'm not going to go through all the tiers for all the parks, but just to give an example, for tiers at Disney's Hollywood Studios, the kind of the premier attractions, the one where you can only choose one experience from the group, includes Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, and Slinky Dog Dash. So that's the top tier. Choose one. Below that, choose two other experiences or all three from this group. That includes Alien Swirling Saucers, Beauty and the Beast live on stage, Disney Junior Play and Dance, For the First Time in Forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration, Indiana Jones Epic Stunt Spectacular, Muppet Vision 3D, Star Tours The Adventures Continue, The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, surprised that one was in there, but perhaps it's a capacity thing, and Toy Story Mania. So I'm just looking at that real quickly. How many actual rides are in that? Because a lot of that's shows.
Well, they did drop, in this one, there are the shows, yes, but I do believe that they dropped some of the meet and greets and stuff from the program.
Yeah, so meet and greets used to be part of it, and that's no longer part of it. So that's interesting. And then for single pass attractions at Disney's Hollywood Studios is Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. So that's the one you got to pay extra for. It's not in the other groups. So that's just kind of a sampling. They have this similar situation for Magic Kingdom and Epcot. And as we said, Disney's Animal Kingdom doesn't have
free
this.
for all, except not free. You still have to pay for it.
So there's all of that. And
if you're park hopping, I think you have to make the first 3 reservations for the one park, but then your subsequent ones can be for a different park.
it's so complicated. It's like so unnecessarily complicated.
They Avril Lavigned it.
What does that mean?
Avril Lavigne?
I know who she is, but is that a song title? Complicated?
Yeah. It's her first hit. Where were you in 2002? Come on now.
I was watching TRL, but I wasn't paying attention to Avril Lavigne. But that's the perfect segue, unless there's anything else you want to add about that.
No, I want to hear what this Avril Lavigne segue is.
Well, Walt Disney World has announced that this year's lineup for the popular Eat to the Beat concert series is out. And this is, of course, part of the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival later this year. And it's very TRL. That's where my head went with Avril. Some of these groups are very TRL. We'll start with the new ones. I just wanted to talk about this because of how much boy band stuff is in here, but let's start with the new. And by the way, this is how you know you're old. I don't know the names of so many of these bands, but Yellow Card, The Wanted, Mau E. Ricky. Is that a thing? Mau E. Ricky.
I will say there's different. We were just talking about attraction tiers. There's some different tiers to these bands. Some of them are honestly like, I don't know if they're like local, but they're also trying to hit different demographics. Like there's definitely some Latin acts that they're bringing in and some cover bands sort of things. Tribute groups, I suppose, is what they like to be called. But yeah, so it's not all, you shouldn't have necessarily heard of all of these. I will give you some grace there.
Thank you. But wouldn't it be funny if they did tier them and they told the artist, like, you're a tier 1, you're a tier 2, tier 5.
Your dining package is $5 off tonight.
We got Jesse and Joy, Aloe Black, David Archuleta, Haley Reinhart featuring Emily Estefan, Casey Abrams, and Janelle Parrish, and Magic, as well as Parma Lee. Those are all new. I really don't know many of them.
You know Yellow Card, right?
I don't. Who's Yellow
Card?
Wow,
Yellow Card. I got 2002. You missed it. You slept through 2002.
I was paying attention to the boy bands.
Well, speaking of not paying attention and not paying attention, the first time I saw Yellow Card was in the basement of this club where I'd go see all the punk shows in Phoenix, and I wasn't paying attention. I was facing the other way, hanging out with my girlfriend at the time, and at one point I turned around. I'm like, "There's a violin in this band," and that was the first time I saw Yellow Card.
Are you a fan?
They have some good songs. They have some bops. You'd know Ocean Avenue if I sent it to you. You've heard it in a movie trailer or something, I'm sure.
Maybe. The names I know in that new group is David Archuleta, I know, and I know The Wanted. And other than that, not so.
I thought
familiar.
The Wanted broke up. I didn't know that they were even still a thing.
Well, can we talk about, I'll just skip ahead for a second to the TRL flashback stuff. Speaking of broken up, we got Smash Mouth coming. Didn't he die?
So yes, he did die. Steve died, but they replaced Steve even before he died. He retired.
Oh, really?
And they replaced him, and then they've continued on.
I didn't realize that. Do we happen to know if that was, his wishes that he wanted the band? Because he was the front line.
Yeah, I think they kind of reached an agreement because I think he had some alcohol issues.
Oh, okay. I thought he might have left because he was sick. Interesting.
I think there's a combination of things.
All right. Interesting. So yeah, Smash Mouth will be there November 15th and 16th. And Sugar Ray, September 1st and 2nd. TRL throwback, baby.
Those are the two bands I've always associated because they came on at the same time. Their first albums are very different from every other album they've put out after that. And they've always been linked in my mind. So it's very funny to hear you mention them back to back.
And let's talk about some boy band, or at least boy band connection sort of stuff. Joey Fatone and Friends. Of course, Joey Fatone from NSYNC, the greatest boy band ever. And that's performing October 6th and 7th. I'm just saying, I'm looking at a Halloween Horror Nights early October visit to Orlando. So this may line up for Jeff DePauli, and that would make me happy. We also got Hanson, October 25th through the 28th. I got to see them there as part of Eat to the Beat a few years ago, which is cool. Boys to Men, November 3rd and 4th. And 98 Degrees, November 17th and 18th. I mean, come on. There's some good bands that I would totally want to go see.
Yeah, of those, I think... I know Hanson always puts on a great show. Like, I don't know if people if you're not in it, you don't know. But Hanson still has like a very dedicated following.
Well, because they still release new albums and stuff.
Yeah, no, but people just think of Bop. So if you just think of that, you don't realize it. But yeah, they've continued to put out music, and like they're well respected in the music scene.
Very cool. So that is all happening, and beginning July 9th, you can secure your spot at the show by reserving an Eat to the Beat dining package available Friday through Monday. And of course, the 9th will have passed by the time you're hearing this. So go get those reservation dining packages.
But not the Joey one. You got to leave one open for Jeff.
Oh, yeah. Leave just one, though. Well, maybe two, just in case, I want to bring somebody with. But yeah, I hope Joey does well. And I'm curious who his friends are. I would die if, one night, the night I'm there, his friends are Justin Timberlake and Lance Bass and JC Chazé and Chris Kirkpatrick. I'd be like,
I think Chris has been there and maybe Lance.
So Chris is doing this whole Pop 2000 tour where it's him and I think like LFO and O-Town and just some really, once again, very TRL acts. And I'm missing them twice now. So when I was back east, I saw they popped up that they were going to be in New Hampshire at Hampton Beach, which is where I spend a lot of time with my family. And it was like 1 month after I was leaving. So I was like, damn it, if I was here for that, I would 100% go. And then... at that time, they had no LA dates. And then about a week ago, I see they have an LA date pop up. Guess when?
When you're visiting for Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando.
Last day of D23.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, you're killing me. I really would love to go. But, alas, it's not happening. So, yeah, fun times. Anything else you want to add about our TRL old man music that, is cool?
I enjoy Eat to the Beat.
Excellent. Very cool. All right, moving on. The Tokyo Disney Resort has revealed plans for a spectacular traveling drone show called Tokyo Disney Resort Special Drone Show. Magic in the air. There's magic in the air this evening. Magic in the air. They should totally play that. Even though it's Christmas related, it's appropriate, right?
I think so.
The 15-minute extravaganza will feature approximately 1,500 drones in simultaneous flight. That is a lot. How much is the Disney Springs one? Like 400 or 500, right? 800? So this is double that practically. That's crazy. The night sky will transform into a breathtaking Disney canvas portraying popular characters such as Mickey Mouse and showcasing scenes inspired by timeless Walt Disney Animation Studios films like Beauty and the Beast and The Little Mermaid. The drone show takes it a step further with representation of Fantasy Springs, the 8th themed port at Tokyo Disney Sea Park, which opened on June 6th. Fans will relive scenes from the Frozen Kingdom, join Rapunzel in her forest, and get lost in Peter Pan's Neverland. The inaugural show is slated for July 20th, 2024 at the Abe River Fireworks Festival in Shizuoka City. This is Tokyo Disney Resort's second traveling drone show. The first traveled to fireworks festivals last summer to honor the 40th anniversary of Tokyo Disneyland, featuring 700 drones. So once again, way bigger. You know how people always say, like, be good to Florida or be kind to Florida or whatever? Come on.
Be fair to Florida.
Be fair to Florida. Drones, be fair to California. this is ridiculous. Now there's tours happening in Japan, and Disneyland Resort still has not had a single drone show that I can think of. Very sad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be coming. I wonder if they'll wait till like next Earth Day or something, because I feel like if they announce drones as a replacement for pyro and put an environmental spin on it, that's a good way to sell it to regulators in California as well as the public.
You know, I know that we don't have as much land as Walt Disney World, but I'm really hoping we get a nice big body of water with Disneyland Forward for the purpose of flying drones over it, like they do at Disney Springs. I think that
Drones
would be...
in Pandora?
I don't know. Would that make sense? I don't know those films.
Well, they have those bioluminescent like creatures and stuff. So if they make up some crappy story about how they have a festival and they all make different formations in the sky, I don't know.
But here's the thing. I don't think that they have any lack of ideas for drones. I think it really comes down to just the logistics of safety and laws.
No, I know, but I'm saying like if it would work, because what we've seen in the concept art for Pandora, this whatever it is going to be, but there's like a body of water, so I could actually see them theming a drone show to that and having it over water.
I'm all for it. Just get drones to... Listen, I'm going to say something I'll regret, but I want drones so badly. They could do a Brave drone show and I'd just be like, fine, give me some freaking drones at Disneyland Resort. That's a bold statement. But I might eat those words. They'll never do a Brave. They'll never do a Brave drone show. But I don't know. What would be the thing that you were like, oh, God, really? But fine, it's drones.
Descendants? I don't know.
Descendants drone show. I could totally see that happening.
Mine's far more likely than yours.
Far more likely. Alrighty. So drones, bring them to Disneyland Resort, please. Thank you. Moving on. Now, I shared a bunch of Disney Cruise Line news earlier in the episode, but I wanted to talk about this one simply because it shocked me. Talk about a deep cut. A brand new lounge themed to the 1970 classic, if we can use that word, the Aristocats, will be among the offerings on the Disney Treasure when it sets sail this December. Scat Cat Lounge will bring the groovy penthouse performance of Everybody Wants to Be a Cat into the real world for the first time. Plans for the venue combine the elegance of an old-school jazz club with artistic references to the Aristocats. This feels like if Jeff DePauli was an Imagineer and all of a sudden Honey, I Shrunk the Kids stuff started popping up, people would be like, oh, this is a crazy fan who just wanted to work that... Somebody must love the Aristocats and Imagineering who was like, how are we going to get this into the cruise ship? And they convinced them. And bravo to them. This shocked me to, for a company that looks off of spreadsheets and things that are popular and what's being streamed on Disney Plus. I don't think the Aristocats is on anybody's radar, but hey, good for them.
A rinky tinky tinky.
I got to watch it. It's been an extraordinarily... I have very, 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 very little memory of the Aristocats.
And I have memory of... I also saw it very long ago, and I don't remember much about it. So anytime I think of Aristocats, I actually think of not the current version, but there was an earlier version of Big Band Beat at Tokyo Disney Sea, and it had Marie in it, and she had her own number, and it was like, I'm just a jazz kitty. And so that's what I think of every time I see Marie or any of the Aristocats.
It's true. Marie is in the parks, so maybe the Aristocats is more popular than I realize. I don't know. I don't think of it as a classic.
Or maybe if it's supposed to be like an adult lounge, they're like, well, it doesn't really matter. Like, it gives us an excuse to kind of do some sort of theming, but like, it's a jazz club, and Scat Cat, we already have a Scat Cat lounge at Port Orleans. We'll just do that, but then make it about real cats.
Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of wild, though.
Real animated fictional cats.
Maybe they'll throw real cats in there. I don't know. I hope not.
No. I don't think people need cats running around, especially when you're traveling port to port internationally, stuck on a ship. No. Bad idea, Jeff.
Bad idea. That's why I wouldn't have an Aristocats lounge on my ship. I'm sure it'll be great. Anyway, let's move on. I'm sure most of you know that the Walt Disney Company recognizes cast members with service awards on monumental anniversaries. And CEO Bob Iger shared on his new Instagram page. Are you following him?
I've done the best I can, which is that he is on my growing list of Instagram accounts that I need to regularly refresh on my desktop to get the latest Disney news, because I don't know how to make lists like I can with Twitter.
All right. Well, I'm following him, and so is Disney Coast to Coast, and I'm sure he took notice. Anyway, he was honored with a Snow White Service Award statue recognizing 50 years with the company. Kind of, sort of, not really. Because Bob Iger started his career with ABC in 1974, 50 years ago, but that was prior to the network being acquired by Disney. So there's that, and also he left the company for a while.
For 11 months. His hours don't reset until a year.
Really? Is that the thing?
I don't know if that's the real. So like when I feel like I mentioned this before, but when I worked at the movie theater, like I'm mentioning hours because like that's how our raises were based on hours, and yours didn't reset if you came back within a year. So I think it's a similar thing. Like he was gone for less than a year. He keeps all his seniority and everything.
Interesting. Well, maybe. Tenure. But listen, all I'll say is even if this is the case, then Mark Hamill should have some of these statues because he starred in Star Wars back in the 70s, and
yeah, but he's not under contract that entire time though. He does stuff for other companies and stuff. Like Bob Iger is a contract employee.
Maybe it's only 11 months at a time, Kyle, where he comes and goes. I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, between 1983 and 2015.
This is just interesting to me. I don't know. It's a little odd to me, and it's fine. It means nothing essentially, but it's a little odd.
I did think about this, and I think it's definitely wrong to say that he's been with the Walt Disney Company for 50 years, but I don't think there's any other way to provide a service award and be like, well, here's 25 for Disney, and then here's another 25 for ABC or whatever. Like, you kind of have to recognize that back time. But yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
I'm okay with it.
It just made me laugh.
It'll be awkward when we sell off ABC and then he has to give it back. But
oh, man. That's why he's going to keep ABC now.
His Milli Vanilli moment, he has to give up his service award.
Oh, Kyle, you're too funny. That's great. Anyway, anything you want to add to that?
No, congratulations, Bob. Way to make the big move to Instagram with I think he's up to 3 posts as of recording.
And we should mention, I think he's left X, which I still call Twitter. I don't even care if that makes me an old man. I'm just going to tell you for Google reasons, keep calling it Twitter. Because if you're searching something and then you put X, you're not going to get what you're looking for. So search and then write Twitter. Yeah. It's still Twitter.
Yeah, I think Bob's last tweet was November of last year, so he seems pretty far gone, which I don't know why. It's not like the CEO of the company told him to F himself or anything.
All right. Well, so that's kind of the news, but there are some things I mentioned. I went to Disneyland Resort for 4th of July. I checked out some stuff that I hadn't before. Do you remember? I don't know if it was the last episode or the one before that. We talked about the aerial bubbles dance party thing that happening in downtown Disney. I specifically went out of my way to check this out, even though I knew exactly what it would be. It's a DJ on the stage. And I will say a good amount of bubble machines. Every half hour, they play Under the Sea, the OG Under the Sea, not some popped up version, which I very much appreciated. Bubbles everywhere, kids having a blast, and this green area that I made so much fun of that has become one of my new favorite spots because they always have such good entertainment on this stage. And also, this is by the new entrance to downtown Disney. And it's cute. It's nothing fantastic, but it was cute, and it was a plethora of bubbles, which I appreciated. And I will say, really high-quality bubble machines, which is a weird thing to say, but I was actually impressed. I was looking at the machines and how they were hung up on the poles, and I was like, these are nice bubble machines. Like, these look semi-permanent.
Have you seen the Disney Springs version?
Do they have a bubbles?
So they have a moving DJ with bubbles thing going around. It looks like it's got a couple seahorses on the front, and it moseys through Disney Springs, and the girl who I recognize because she does the opening like DJ stuff for C2E2 and some other events like that. So it's pretty funny. I feel bad for her watching her go around Disney Springs and trying to get people to do mermaid dances while spraying bubbles.
I have not seen this, but I'll tell you, the Downtown Disney version sounds better.
It's a low bar.
Alrighty, and then also I did the Pixar Pals Playtime Party at Fantasyland because when I went and did all the Pixar Fest stuff, I just didn't have time to do this. And this is the dance party, the whatever it is, the activation that took over Fantasyland Theater and kicked out Lion King, which I'm still upset about. But I will say, this is more of a show than I expected. Like, there's a whole warm-up act, and then there's a whole dance party with characters. I'll say if you want to see a lot of characters, especially Pixar characters, definitely go to this. There's a bunch of them. They have the photo ops. I get mentally why this makes more sense, why this is better for the park, because this is open the entirety of the day, or at least, all daytime. It closes at night, but people can come and go all day. It's not like a show's starting, load them in, and then max exodus sort of thing. So it works for flow and capacity and stuff like that, but it was cute.
It's also spawned a series of memes. Have you seen these?
No, what did the memes say?
Sadness dancing.
Oh, well, I posted Sadness dancing. Yeah, she's delightful to watch dance.
Yeah, no, when Mike went on opening day, we all knew that she was going to be the star. And yeah, if you look on like TikTok and stuff, you'll see a bunch of sad dancing. Sadness is listening to Taylor Swift. I get to my birthday. That's that one.
Yeah, she likes to point with the little fingers and, go slow and mopey and look down at the ground. And she's kind of adorable, but that's a thing. I also saw the recently reopened Fantasmic Sans Dragon. And listen, I give a hard time to Fantasmic. I think rightfully so. But there's something that when Fantasmic 2.0 came out, I had a huge problem with. Rightfully so. And they've removed it, which I didn't recognize when I saw the video. But do you remember they hung like a giant white sheet behind the building on Tom Sawyer Island and between the trees, and they would project on it? Do you remember this?
I think I never saw it, but I think I've heard people talk about it.
It was the ugliest thing ever. I mean, it looked so out of place, and it infuriated me because a show that was groundbreaking for projection went so basic, hanging a white sheet. The sheet is gone, and I can't even tell you, I was thrilled to see the sheet gone, which it's just great. They did that. Also, so it's great to have Peter Pan back. I did not recognize initially that the crocodile animatronic was not following the ship. But then, of course, there's the audio at the end where you hear the croc and you hear Peter Pan reference the croc and Captain Hook is scared of the croc. They just blast the mist screens and project the croc on it. And I was like, oh, that's a really smart fix. I'm going to assume since Peter Pan's been gone for a while, that crocodile animatronic just is kind of no more, like the magic carpet, no more. And it was a very smart fix, and I didn't miss the other thing. I honestly didn't even realize it until that moment of the projection. So it was very smart. Very good choice. And if you want to hear me talk more about Fantasmic 2.0 and the changes I had problems with, listen to episode 427 of Disney Coast to Coast. And I saw the fireworks. It was the 4th of July. I had VIP seats because a very generous friend invited me. And guess who I sat right near? Guess who was at Disneyland? You'll never guess.
Okay,
it was Kevin Pollak sat right in front of me, which is a name that you may not immediately know, but I promise if you Google Kevin Pollak and look at his face, you're like, oh, I've seen that man in everything. I think most people know him from The Usual Suspects. Disney fans might know him as Saint Valentine from The Santa Claus. And he's a comic. He's a comic. He's done so many different things, but he was there, and yeah, so he sat pretty much right in front of me for the fireworks, and we enjoyed the fireworks, and it was lovely. They did some nice projections on the castle and on the Matterhorn, and they didn't cancel the fireworks for the 4th of July, so that's a win.
That is a win.
It's a fantastic win.
It's rare.
A win because of no wind.
Did you want me to applaud that? Because that's not going to happen.
I think it was worthy of applause. Anywho, I will also add the park was not too crowded. It was obviously crowded, but not insanely crowded. So they might have done what they wanted. They may have priced people out and gotten people to spend more. So that's the state of the parks these days. I also want to mention Oogie Boogie Bash finally sold out. It only took them 2 weeks. I'm saying facetiously. Obviously, it's still a fast amount of time, but I think it is noteworthy that it took, considerably longer than last year. Last year, I think was 3 days?
I think it sold out right away. I think it was just a matter of people being able to buy tickets.
Yeah, so Oogie Boogie Bash is sold out. We have no news about what's new, which is typical, but it did take longer. So that's something I'm curious, internally, what the Disney folks, how they're looking at that and thinking, oh gosh, is it too repetitive? Do people not want to do it every year? Which is kind of where I am.
Or did they fix all the systems so people don't feel like they need to overbuy tickets and scalp them?
I wouldn't count on that being the reason. I don't think think they're concerned about it taking a couple of weeks. I don't think they're concerned, but it would be interesting if this was a trend and
we don't measure success by 10-hour waits, Jeff.
Yeah, right. All right. Chapek. In any case, I thought it was noteworthy. I also want to mention, I know a lot of people who want to go to D23, speaking of tickets, have not been able to get tickets because that did sell out in 3 days. I've been seeing Facebook ads that very limited amounts, and this is official D23 Facebook ads, limited amounts have been going on sale kind of sporadically. I have no idea at this moment when you're listening to this whether or not they'll be available, but it's worth checking out. It's worth checking out D23 on Facebook if you are interested in trying to get tickets. It is limited options. They do seem to have the Honda Center, but it's not necessarily the lowest price option. So this is if you really want to go and you're kind of just willing to pay and stuff. So check it out if you're interested because, that's good news. I also want to talk about Kyle. Did you see that Moana 2 scared a Wicked Witch?
I did see that.
This is kind of incredible. So, November, Wicked, the first installment of this movie musical from Universal Studios, based on the Broadway musical, based on the book, has been... By the way, did you know one of the first people I ever interviewed was Gregory Maguire, the author of Wicked? Because he lives in Concord, Massachusetts. And I was like, I'm going to come to your house and interview you. And he was like, all right, cool. In any case, I digress. Wicked bumped up its release early to November 22nd because it was originally going to be released on November 27th against Moana 2. And apparently, Universal got a little scared about that.
But I have a question. So this is the first part 1 of Wicked. So basically, this movie's going to end with Defying Gravity. Is that the idea?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So Act 1 of the show ends. So here's my problem. The musical is 2.5 hours long, including a 15-minute intermission. So the musical is 2 hours and 15 minutes. There's going to be a lot of fluff, is what I think. But I will say what I've seen looks great. I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope they don't fill it with too much stuff. Jeff Goldblum as the wizard has me stoked. I think he's going to be amazing. Oh, what a pair we'll be, the wizard and I. It's going to be so good.
I think you're going to get an extended version of Popular that can get big on TikTok.
Popular. And I think Jeff doing the wizard song is going to be fantastic. Wonderful. They call me wonderful. He'll be so fun. Have you ever seen the documentary Philadelphia?
Mm-mm.
I think it's called... No, I lied. The AIDS movie is called Philadelphia. What I'm thinking of is called Pittsburgh. Have you heard of this?
No.
Pittsburgh is a documentary/mockumentary of Jeff Goldblum going to Pittsburgh where he grew up and starring as Professor Harold Hill in a local production of The Music Man. And I believe the reason he did it was so that someone he was dating could be in the production and not have to leave the country. And they document this, but also it's partially scripted. But he really did do this. He actually went and performed the role in a theater company in Pittsburgh. Really weird. I don't think you can stream it anywhere. I think I bought the DVD off of eBay. But if you're a Goldblum fan, worth checking out. But how amazing that Moana 2 has that much power. They must have been looking at the Disney Plus streaming numbers to get that scared.
Guess so.
Yeah. Speaking of things that aren't exactly Disney related, this is theme park related, and I just have to say it because I don't talk about Six Flags very much. I'm not really a Six Flags thrill park kind of guy, but I did have to go to the park recently, and I can't remember the last time I got this excited at a theme park/thrill park. It's been a long time. My jaw dropped and I literally screamed. You've been to Six Flags Magic Mountain, right?
So here's the thing, Jeff. I have been there, but not while it was open.
Oh, interesting. Well, do you remember the parking lot? What are you? This is like a Wally World experience for you?
Glee Day.
Oh, Glee Day. Like, you guys...
We shot at Glee.
You shot it. Okay, cool. So, the parking lot is massive and flat. Think Epcot. Not quite that big. I pull up, and the entire parking lot was covered by solar panels. Meaning you could park under the solar panels and have your car in the shade. I screamed. I was so happy. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is amazing. I mean, it's in the desert.
Valencia, right?
Yeah, your car gets hot. I couldn't believe it. And I honestly thought it was a stroke of genius. And if I could have, I would have given whoever decided this a standing ovation. Brilliant. Wonderful. And legitimately thrilled, which kind of explains how high my standards are for Six Flags when something like...
Well, the next time you go to Knott's, you'll technically be visiting a Six Flags property, so there you go. Maybe they'll get the solar panel covered parking next.
Maybe, but also they're not in the desert. It's really not. It's Six Flags was a rough parking lot, so it's very good news. I also want to mention, as I was walking through the park, 2 of their performance venues are currently being knocked down. Very upsetting. I guess their demographic isn't really a live show sort of demographic. It's more of a thrill park demographic. So I kind of get it, but it always breaks my heart to see live performance stuff go away. But that's the reality. But they got solar panel covered parking. So that's
all you need.
I got very excited. Anyway, Kyle, how are you? Anything you'd like to add?
Well, I'm very curious for a follow-up on your quest to listen to your Honey, I Shrunk the Kids audio tape.
I still have not listened because I still haven't gotten a thing. Although I will say thank you to everybody who sent me messages showing where I could buy a cassette player for inexpensively. I appreciate it very much. I will get one. Amy O'Neill reached out again saying she wants to listen to it with me. So we're going to make that happen. So I'm kind of waiting for that. But some people reached out saying that it is available digitally online. Somebody put it on YouTube apparently like 6 months ago. When I was doing my deep dive search for it, it was about a year ago. So it does seem like somebody has added that audio to YouTube or somewhere. I'll find it again and I'll put it in the show notes. But I still haven't listened yet. But I am looking forward to it. And there are a lot of very nice, helpful people out there. So thanks to everybody who messaged and commented with how I can listen, because that's just so sweet.
Well, I'm glad. I hope you'll have to keep me updated. I won't ask about it again, but you can tell me when you get a chance to.
Sounds good.
Well, hopefully everyone will know, because you'll have a special listening party stream where you and Amy experience it together.
A live stream. We could maybe do that. Well, maybe. Pay attention to my Instagram at
Patreon exclusive.
Nah, I won't put it behind a paywall. I won't Genie Plus this. But yeah, check out my Patreon anyway. I also want to mention real quickly, you know Who's It's and What's It's, right, Kyle?
Galore.
Who's It's and What's It's, the online magically inspired shop. Yeah, they are closing at the end of this month. I just found out, and they're closing shop. So a bunch of their stuff is 30% off on their website. They've been very good to this show. Tiffany Mink, the creator of Who's It's and What's It's, has been on the show doing Princess Ponderings and some other stuff along the way. And I was sad to see this news, but I wanted to let folks know, if you're looking for anything, Who's It's and What's It's, if you're familiar with the brand, even if you're not, check out who'sitswhatsits.com and see what they have and get it at discount. And here's the thing. I've had an affiliate code with them for a while. It's simply DCTC, and it gets you 15% off. Whether or not you can add that to the slashed prices that they already have, I honestly don't know. But why not give it a shot? If you go to Who's It's and What's It's, get something at discount, try adding DCTC as the checkout discount code, and maybe you'll get even more discount. But, you know, let's say goodbye to them with a big hooray and a bang for anybody interested.
And inventory's getting low. If you want thingamabobs, they only got about 20.
Kyle, you are too much, man. Your brain is something special. Anything else you want to add?
think I'm good. I've ranted about fireworks, I've made dad jokes, and we talked about boy bands, so I think we got it covered.
Oh boy, what a special episode of Disney Coast to Coast. I really, really enjoyed it. Kyle, I'll talk to you again in a couple weeks with some more Disney news.
All right, looking forward to it.
To read more about any and all of the stories you've heard here today, simply visit the show notes link in this episode's description. You've heard the news, and now I want to hear what you have to say about it. What do you think about the name change for Genie Plus and its new updates? Share your thoughts on that or any other topics mentioned in today's episode. Call 818-860-2569, and you may just hear yourself on a future episode of Disney Coast to Coast. Thanks for tuning into this episode. Don't miss any future episodes by subscribing and following Disney with a Z, Coast to Coast on your favorite podcast app where episodes are available 24/7. This episode has been executive produced by Jeffrey Riccio. Gain rewards like Jeffrey, including access to never-before-heard episodes and live stream Ask Me Anythings by visiting the Patreon link in this episode's description. And thanks to Rebecca for leaving a 5-star rating and review saying, "They bring you the latest on everything that is happening within Disney, from movies, parks, merchandise, musicals, and everything in between. It is not only the typical Disney things either. They cover topics on everything Disney owns. They are the highlight of my Wednesdays. All this to say, if you love Disney and you want to know more about what's going on, subscribe." Leave a review wherever you listen to the podcast, and you may just hear it read here on a future episode. Until next time, anything you need can be found in this episode's description. From additional information and links discussed in this episode found in the show notes, contact info to reach me, access to the show's official website, some free gifts from me to you, and so much more. So be sure to check out this episode's description. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!